Hello and welcome to the Legend of Podcast Trails Through Trails, the podcast where we play through the Trails series half chapter by half chapter most of the time, game by game. I'm Lex and I use she, her pronouns.
And I'm Matt, I use he, him.
And this week we're blazing a trail through chapter 2, the first part of chapter 2 of second chapter, Trails in the Sky second chapter. Thank God eventually we're not going to have to say chapter 2, second chapter, and chapter 1, but not first chapter, because it really is becoming a little much.
I love it. I really love it. It's so bad. Anyway, it's been some game again, and I am excited to talk about it. But before that, I'm excited to hear what you've been up to, Lex. What have you been doing?
I've been up to? Well, I've been buzzing out of my skin because the demo for the Trails in the Sky remake dropped. We'll have more to say about that, not right at the second, but I'll get through the other stuff I've had going on in my life first, briefly. I've been at Fan Expo this weekend.
Yes.
Which is the big, I think the biggest convention that happens in Toronto. And I've been having a great time. Obviously super busy. Artist's Alley is always amazing, but I have not found any Trails art in Artist's Alley. I've been searching and there's nothing. I've never actually found Trails art so I know that at some, like at Anime Expo sometimes there's stuff, like at maybe in New York, but I haven't found any at a Canadian convention yet. And I did meet Damien Haas, who plays Van Arkwright, the protagonist of Trails Through Daybreak and Daybreak 2.
Ooh.
Yeah, he was very lovely, so that was great. He did say that he was nervous joining Trails because he knows what a long-running series it is and like that the fans are really passionate, but that everyone's been really welcoming. So good on you, everyone, for being like nice, welcoming, sane, normal fans.
And hello, Damien. If you've found yourself compelled to listen to a podcast about this series you respect the history of.
Yes, my sibling was with me, and my sibling was very determined to hype me, to be like, she has a podcast about this game. And I was like, that's very sweet and a little awkward, but very sweet.
Well, if you're out there, Damien, we love your work. We love you as a part of the Trails family.
Van is the coolest protagonist, like, ever, so yeah.
I love him.
So good. I also went to some live theater this week. I saw Natasha Pierre and the Great Comet of 1812, which hit Broadway in 2016. Starring Josh Groban back then, like when it debuted there, but is now in Toronto. There's a run being held in Toronto, not just like a touring run, like one that's actually based here, and it's a really great show. It's a wild show. It's like 40 pages of War and Peace adapted into a full-length musical.
Oh, okay.
It's like, but it's very modern. Like it starts with like in the opening song, they're like, it's a complicated novel. We're all Russian and have 9 names. You'll probably want to look in the program if you want to follow the plot. Thanks. They even have like a printed out synopsis page that's like not attached to the rest of the program just to like help follow along. It's more of a vibe than a story, but it's a great vibe. I saw a reviewer say that and I was like, oh yeah, that's true. It's like, it's really good. It's really interactive. There's this one segment with like Russian folk music and people dancing and doing, you know, that like stereotypical Russian dance of like bending down the knees and like
the kick thing, yeah, the Cossack dance. I've always heard it.
Yeah, I don't think it's called that in Russia, but I think people outside of Russia and Ukraine also, it comes from like both. But anyway, it was this segment is like 15-20 minutes, and I was like, I never want this to end. This is the most fun. They're just dancing and the music's going and there's chaos on stage and there's people in all the aisles dancing and like constantly drinking vodka on stage. I know that when it was on Broadway, like you got a shot of vodka when you went in and a pierogi.
Oh, wow.
And it was staged. They like redid that whole theater so that like the audience was in sections and there was like a stage snaking throughout the audience so that it was like you were in like a Russian supper club watching. Because it said it was like, it's like a scandalous love affair in the middle of like Russian high society in the 1900s. So it was meant to be staged like you were at a supper club like watching this drama go down and like part of the wider society that was like watching the tea. Anyway, it was great. I love live theater. Live theater is great. Go to live theater if there's anything in your area. There's probably more that you know about, and I recommend it. I think live theater is the art form that has most in common with video games, actually, because audience experience and player experience are always like different and always individual in a way that like doesn't happen the same way with art that's not being created as you're experiencing it.
One of my favorite things to do when I was younger, and this was a more affordable concept, was every year when I lived in Adelaide, the Adelaide Fringe Festival would come through.
I know it, yeah.
Comedy, cabaret, drama, circus, everything. And it's this huge event because Adelaide's event structure is weirdly concentrated. So February to April is just kind of everything, and then the rest of the year is empty.
Yeah.
So you have the Adelaide Fringe Festival going on at the same time as a major car race, the I can't remember what it's called now.
The Clipsal 500.
So it was all that plus and a film festival and a visual arts festival. And so the streets would be full of performers. It was like an intense place. But I would set aside $200 every year and pick as many like $10 to $15 shows as I could.
Oh, that's so fun.
Just to see what that would turn up. Sometimes it was good, sometimes it was bad, but it was only $10 to $15, so does it really matter? And I saw a lot of interesting things. Comedy shows held in a half-demolished hotel building. A circus act in a half-built car park. There's a lot of like half-constructed zones. Another was the trapeze act that was done using a lot of industrial-grade cling wrap suspended in a parking lot between the girders and stuff. So I watched a man in his underpants come out of a cling wrap cocoon.
Amazing.
For like 5 to 10 minutes. Really interesting. Go out and see live theatre. It's just as good as video games. Sometimes better, controversial if true.
Shocking, but it might be, maybe. What have you been up to?
My week was oddly consumed by the Trails franchise, just to really mix things up. On top of playing the very exciting game that we're playing for this season of the podcast, obviously, yes, as we said, the Trails in the Sky Once chapter demo came out.
The Onceler.
The Onceler demo has arrived. It's the whole prologue, so it's like 7 to 8 hours, depending on how thorough you are. So I've played that to the detriment of the game I was meant to be playing already from the Trails franchise. I had to kind of say, no, you've got to eat your vegetables, as in Trails in the Sky second chapter, in order to get your dessert, which is Trails in the Sky first chapter.
Which is the opposite of what everyone's always said about the franchise. Like, first chapter has always been the vegetables. I mean, I think it's an amazing game on its own, but it's always been treated as the vegetables you have to eat to get to second chapter.
Now they are Michelin star vegetables. So we will talk more about that, possibly with some friends. You should be hearing very shortly. Oh, I finished a couple of games again. I finished Ys 9, Monstrum Nox.
Oh my gosh.
That was like the night after we finished recording the last episode.
Right, yes.
I also played the DLC for Still Wakes the Deep.
Oh, yeah?
Which was a horror game from earlier this year, or maybe late last year. It's set on an oil rig. It's kind of a eldritch horror is taking over. Everything's going to hell. Ends badly, as these adventures often do. The DLC is interesting because it's set 10 years later, and it's a diver going through the wreckage of the oil rig deep under the ocean. So you're sort of revisiting the places, but they're all destroyed and they've overgrown with coral and all this stuff. So you're kind of recovering items from the people you learned about as everything was going to hell in the main game. So you're finding mementos or, there's something about one of the characters couldn't find a lighter or something in the main story, and you finally find a corpse holding the lighter.
Well, I guess she found it.
The achievement is like finally found it or something.
Oh my god. It's kind of dark, but fun.
It's a little rough because it's been long enough since playing the game that I don't have the intimate knowledge of the characters anymore, but it was still very interesting. Short, but it's only like a $15 DLC, so that doesn't really matter.
Fun.
I also started playing a game called Eternal Threads, which I remember hearing a bit about early on. Basically, the concept is time travel has ruined everything, and so you travel back to a corrupted time zone, which is like a share house where 6 people live, and in the current timeline, which has been corrupted, they all die in a fire.
Okay.
Or they all die somehow, and there is fire damage in the house. Your job is to go through, and you have this like time gun, and you go along the timeline, and there's like 200 little mini events between these characters.
Oh.
Each one you go and watch, and you see like holograms of them in the ruined space as you're sort of walking around in your like time travel suit. And you watch them play out, and then you'll find decision splits where there's like the current choice and an alternate choice. So maybe it's like one of the housemates deciding whether or not to drink at the party they're having.
Okay.
And then all the changes along the timeline will be affected by that. And then the multiple choices stack.
Oh, that's fun.
And you get all these altered versions. And so the end goal is to like view the entire timeline and then make the necessary changes so these 6 people who shouldn't have died don't die anymore. Some of the changes, it's like, someone takes a pregnancy test. So you can find a pregnancy test in the bin as you're sort of looking around the just destroyed house. And then if you go back and change the event so she refuses to take the pregnancy test, it's not in the bin anymore. It's really interesting and spooky. And then sometimes walking around the house, it's like a picture frame will just fall off the wall and I'm like, are we doing horror? Is this horror as well?
Oh, God.
I'm not sure. There is a hidden room that I can't get into, so I have to go further down the timeline to figure out where to find a key to get in there or something. and then I can go back and watch the event that happened like on the first day of the week that I can scrub through. It's all very interesting, but it's going to take a long time to play because there's so many little like vignettes to watch.
Yeah.
But I'm having a good time. Like the characters are interesting. They're not like too cringy.
That sounds really cool.
It's really interesting seeing like things, this happened at 8:02 and then completely unrelatedly this happened at 8:07 in the other room next door. And just sort of getting the entire lifespan of this house for a week.
That sounds really fun.
It's on sale on PSN for me, it was like $6. So I've just been bouncing around games as usual. I've knocked off a few from my list, which feels very satisfying because at time of recording, Metal Gear Solid 3 Delta comes out in like 4 to 6 days.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm looking forward to playing that. And then a few weeks after that, we get the rest of Trails in the Sky Once chapter.
Yeah.
I have a completed prologue demo save ready to jump directly into chapter 1. I'm very excited.
And we have Demon School to play, which I'm hoping, if you haven't heard of Demon School, it's an indie that's inspired by like Persona and SMT and that tradition of games. It's coming out September 3rd, which is the day before Hollow Knight Silk Song was just announced to come out. I'm a little worried that Demon School is going to get kind of lost in the deluge of information, just, in the timeline or whatever when you scroll and see people posting. So don't sleep on Demon School. Definitely keep an eye out for that. Don't forget about it.
I'm very excited for it, yeah.
Yeah, me too. But yeah, it's going to be a stacked fall. And there's Pokemon coming out this fall. There's whatever Nintendo's going to announce in their direct that is probably in the next few weeks, honestly.
Did you see the trailer they released for Mega Victory Bell?
Oh my god, yes, that thing.
They've framed it as like a first-person Resident Evil game. It was so sick.
It's so cool.
I loved it. I know it's a goof because they're spinning up stuff because it was at Gamescom at the same time that it was new reveals for Resident Evil Requiem, so they were just kind of like playing into that as a joke. But for real, a Pokemon game set in a big Pokemon city, which is like the horrors of living around Pokemon, like how scary it can be. That's why the Detective Pikachu movie was so fun.
Yeah.
Because it was like, here's how it can go wrong, and how having like a best friend who can spit acid out of his head is maybe sometimes a problem.
Yeah.
I would love, and like a more adult title like that. Oh,
that
it would be so
really fun. Anyhow.
It's a stacked September, October this year for pretty much anyone who plays video games.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
I am very happy that there are some games that I personally don't vibe with me. Like I'm not a Silk Song person myself.
Me neither. I'm too arachnophobic for the Hollow Knight.
I don't like spiders, but that never triggered for me. Maybe I just didn't get far enough.
I've never played it because I was informed by people who are who know me that there was at least one sequence that I wouldn't be able to get through. Because I can handle spiders in a turn-based game where I don't have to like look at their movements and I can just look at the command menu. But in like any kind of action combat where I have to be watching their legs move, like I can't do that.
That's fair enough. Like I don't have it to that point. Like it doesn't hit me in games the same, except like Grounded, where the spiders are very, very big.
Ooh.
For me, it's more, I'm not a Souls-like type of person. I've never found one that clicks for me.
Is Hollow Knight seen as a Souls-Knight? I thought it was more of a Metroidvania, or I guess, with Souls inspiration.
It's kind of got elements of both. Like, yeah, it's that kind of punishing difficulty. You've got to go reclaim your resources. So I guess it's kind of like a midpoint, yeah.
Okay, yeah, so
I played it for a while because I had nothing else to play and everyone had been talking about it. But as soon as I found something that was more in my lane, I kind of fell away from it. It's not a bad game by any stretch. It's just I'm not the player for it.
I'm happy for everyone who's been wearing the clown makeup all these years that they finally got Silk Song real confirmed.
Yeah, though I knew it was going to happen. Immediately I saw an article that was like, what's the next Silk Song? What's the next game that hasn't come out that we're going to complain about for years and years and years? And it's like, we don't have to fill that slot. Just be happy that this journey is done and don't look for something else to yearn for.
I agree on one hand. On the other hand, I did enjoy the clown memes, and I hope that we keep posting the clown memes regardless of the accuracy.
It's just like, let the next clown makeup game emerge organically. You don't have to like, what's going to be the next one? What is the next developer that we're going to hound and harass?
Yeah.
To an uncomfortable degree. It's Toxica. But
yes.
I am happy for all who celebrate Silk Song that they finally get to play it. I wish you luck on your journey.
I love the reveal that what happened that delayed it for so long wasn't any big controversy. They were just having fun and not online. They just turned off the internet and had fun playing.
Yeah, it was the whole, like, I didn't watch the reveal, but kind of every summary I've seen of it is basically like...
That was in the Jason Schreier article, I think, that he that he interviewed them, and they're like, yeah.
It's fun to make fun games.
Yeah.
We're having fun. It takes as long as it takes. You guys can wait.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. We open with a man on a roof. This man is just on the roof for shits and giggles, because this man is Bleu Blanc, and we are in the warehouse area of Rouen. Bleu Blanc has a little monologue. So he says, "And so the fete comes to an end, but the passionate left in my heart still burns within me. Ah, my only solace is to wait in the pale moonlight for the cold weirs of the sea to still my heated blood." And then Louvre appears on a roof. He can wait in the pale moonlight with friends.
He sort of teleports in very dramatically and says, "Here I am." He's in his non-Lawrence look.
Yes, but it still says Lawrence ? Is his name. But we've learned his name is Louvre by now, Louvre.
Yes.
Bleu Blanc complains a little bit about the fact that he's on time. Apparently Louvre's like a really punctual person. And Louvre was like, "Oh, I wanted longer to stand here and be dramatic."
We stand a dramatic king.
We do.
Bleu Blanc is an absolute nuisance, but he knows what he likes and he loves to do it.
But in the best way. I love him. But yeah, Bleu Blanc basically just talks about his day, tells his friends, his coworkers about his day, like we do. He loves Chloe. He's still weird about her. He's super excited about Olivier, about having a rival. He's like so hard. He's like rock hard over this fact.
He sure is.
And he also tells us that his experiment had about a 90% success rate, which we don't really know what that means.
Is he talking about his hologram? Because if 90% successful is like T-posing and spinning across the region,
right?
I don't know what that last 10% is meant to be made up of.
I mean, I guess it's just the fact that he was able to project it at all. Maybe the 10% is the fact that it eventually came back, that he could just have it out there indefinitely.
It's like, congratulations, you can do a long-distance blue screen of death.
I guess so. We also learned that, talk about the gospel, or the new gospel, which was made by something called the 13 Factories.
Yes.
And apparently Bleu Blanc and Louvre don't actually know how it works. But the professor, presumably Weissman, but we don't know for sure that that's who we're talking about, he says they're just the tip of a miracle. And Bleu Blanc is like, miracles are the providence of Adios, of she who dwells above. So, like, it's really interesting approaches everyone has to religion in this world. He's like, but only the goddess has miracles. So I wonder what that means for this.
It's a very religiously coded name for the device when they're like, but it's not religious.
Yeah.
Like yes, this is our magic Bible rock, but it's not religious.
Well, I mean, it's named for the first gospel, but I guess that means maybe that the original gospel is suspected to be, maybe it was created by Adios, or they think it was, because, I mean, the Septarians were artifacts were, they're called gifts from the goddess too early. Maybe they mean that in the literal maybe they mean that, like, the goddess physically, created them with her hands. I don't know. We don't really know that much about the history of the Septine Church, right? It could be that, according to their lore, the goddess was once a person among them who did miracles, or it could be that she was always just in the sky doing whatever in heaven. Like, we don't really know whether if there were prophets for her ever or not. Like, we don't really know. Do the Testaments say that, like, once there was a woman who created miraculous things and then she disappeared, but we presume she's in heaven, like, being God? Or is it just that they're like, something cool, fire, God must have given us that?
Yeah, and for a mostly monotheistic society, everyone believes in Adios. Even then, things are different. Again, just kind of nodding back to having played the first chapter demo just recently, I saw a lot of those lines again. And there's that stuff early on where Estelle and Joshua are talking about their respective kind of like the tales of where babies come from at Teoh's farm.
Oh, they kept that.
Estelle has like the Cabbage Patch Kid kind of beliefs, and Joshua's like, I grew up hearing it was like a lady with wings who delivered the baby. It's like a gift of the goddess, or maybe like a homegrown gift of the goddess. Yeah.
DIY.
It's interesting that like everyone agrees that Adios is like number one god, best god, but then everyone's like, we have entirely different perspectives on who and what she is. It's interesting. It's like a lot of language that's kind of shared between religious and non-religious terms. They're
not exactly all monotheistic. It's just that everyone believes in Adios, and sometimes they also have other religions. Like, Gaius in the Cold Steel games has, some animistic religions, or we know there's some Eastern, like, religious. It's just that they also, like, because I guess it makes sense coming from Japan, right? Historically, religion in Japan tends to be a mixture of Buddhism and Shinto and Taoism, and like even Christians in Japan often have Buddhist elements that are woven into their practice. So like it's less of a part in the way we think of religion, right? Is like you are this religion and you are only this religion. But in other parts of the world, it's common to practice multiple different religions or to kind of take parts of all of them. And that's kind of reflected in Samaria, where people, like, there's a tolerance. The Septuagint Church is, like, fine with people also having another religion or other gods along with Aetios. And lots of people worship Aetios and worship something else. Like, it's quite tolerant in that sense. It's very interesting. I guess that's also why we don't have religious wars as far as we know. Like, because it's fine. Everyone's just kind of like, yeah, she doesn't need to be the only god. Like, live your life.
But as he's handing back the gospel to Louvet, Louvet refers to the gospels plural, so again, kind of reference that there's multiples out there, but then is distracted from that because he detects someone hiding nearby and is about to go investigate
/ kill
when he gets double distracted by a drunk who is just getting in the way. And he's like, all right, well, we don't want to get seen by this drunk. So they both sort of do that thing he did off the top of Grancel Castle and just kind of yeet-a-port off the top of a building.
Yeet-a-port. Oh my god, I love that.
They just shwa, 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 just disappear into midair as they leap off a high building.
Amazing.
So maybe you need some sort of like terminal velocity to achieve this kind of teleport.
Could be.
So they can only do it from the top of tall buildings.
I guess that makes sense. Yeah, they say, like, thank the goddess for sparing your life by sending the drunk people, a little rodent, whoever's listening. And then we find out who the little mouse listening was. It was Kevin.
It was Father Kevin. He's hanging out there with his crossbow out.
He keeps showing up in the cold opens of all these chapters. Last chapter, he started out, like, underneath the cathedral. Now he's here listening in. Like, he's around.
He's got his fingers in a lot of pies. He's really kind of keyed into what's going on, despite the fact that we'd never seen this man before a few days ago.
Yeah, and he says, like, I need to be told to give praise to the goddess. Like, I think it's like he's mad that they're using the goddess's name. He's like, I'm the fucking priest here, bitch.
I do like his line. He's like, thank you, Aetios saints, and anyone else I'm forgetting for saving your humble servant. Just covering all bases. You gotta love it.
Yeah, he comments that the enforcers are monsters. He's like, what monsters? Like, we don't really know what he was doing there. Obviously, he was listening, but we don't really know why or, like, what he's after. But it's interesting that they just, even though he's not crossing paths with the party, we keep checking in with Kevin.
It's Kevin. I just want him back in the party. He was a really good spellcaster.
He was. And he's just fun to have around.
Just a fun guy. Yeah, I love his one little spiky tooth to show that he's a bit of a rogue.
Yeah.
It's a very odd thing for a priest to have.
Yes.
But it suits him. He looks like a sneaky fox. I think he kind of gives me like fox vibes.
I can see that.
Well, and which makes sense because he's making all those different noises. He makes like religious noises and he makes like horny boy noises. Have you ever heard a fox? They've got a real vocal range. Like yip yip ma.
They do have range. It's true. Yip yip ma.
Father Vixen, he ain't got nothing on this guy.
Damn. We then get a title card.
Yes, it's the title card. It's Chapter 2, The Raging Land.
Ooh.
Seems so dramatique.
And now it's daylight again. It's no longer the middle of the night. We are now leaving the guilds, basically planning what to do now that we've arranged that Olivier and Chloe are coming with us. I'm not sure whether, like, when that nighttime scene is supposed to happen, because this seems like it continues directly from the scene where we booked the tickets, like at the end of chapter 1, where Olivia's like, book the tickets, and then we have a nighttime scene and then a daytime, so maybe it was the night before. Like, they're just jumping around time-wise, but probably.
It does seem like, like it must have cut back to earlier.
So we found out apparently Dort went to the hotel to see Niall.
Yep.
And so we're like, we should at least go over and, like, say bye to Dorothy and to Niall before we go to Zeiss. So we have our tickets booked, but we're going to head over there. But first, there's side quests, because of course there are side quests.
Oh my god, this is such a side quest heavy half of a chapter. I cannot believe it.
Yeah, that's why there's not that much plot to cover. There's just so many fucking side quests. So I started by doing the gambling side quest. Which one did you do first?
I did the same. I went with the gambling quest over at the casino first of all.
So I'm curious though to hear about this because it plays out differently depending on your party member.
Yes.
Like, so first of all, the premise of it is that there's a woman named Lakeisha and her husband decided to become a professional gambler. And she's like, I need you to make my husband lose so that he'll realize that he's not just like got a goddess given talent for poker or blackjack or whatever game he's into today. And that he like has to quit because he's actually not. He doesn't have a good poker face or anything. He's just been really lucky lately. And so we're like, okay, so she gives us 1,000 Mira for a bet and is like, challenge him and just make him lose. So that's the premise. So how did it go? How did it play out for you?
So first thing I noticed was I walked upstairs and he was the only person gambling in the entire casino.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the place is completely empty. There's just attendants standing at all the other events waiting for him to get bored of playing solitaire or whatever he's playing. So obviously the casino's not doing great.
Well, I have theories about what's going on there because it is like mid-morning or midday. It's possible that it's just because he's the only loser who's at the casino at 11 a.m.
Maybe.
Also, it's possible that he's been so obnoxious that everyone else there left. But my guess is that it's the whole middle of the day thing. Like, I think of casinos as like a nighttime event.
It feels like he could have just been there overnight, like just going all night.
Yeah.
Yeah, we go upstairs and we're sort of talking about what we're going to do. Kind of the plan comes together that we're going to do a version of poker that is hand versus hand, 3 rounds in a row, elimination style. They make it really complicated because they don't want to do a 4-way game.
Yeah, basically the way it works is that it's 3 games in a row. Our team is going to be like change which person is playing each time while he is just going to be him. Basically, the idea is that for the 3 rounds, only one fold. You only get to fold once. And folding means like you say, no, I'm not going to play this hand. I'm not challenging. The rest of them, no matter what cards you have to play them.
They also have an extra complication to their version of poker in that the suits are weighted.
Yes.
The same hand in different suits would win over each other.
Yes.
And it was at this point I was like, why did we need to put a hat on a hat? We don't need so much complication. We could have just played poker.
The suits thing did become relevant in my thing. I don't know if it did for you.
It does, but it's just such an extra layer to have to think about. It makes sense that you would mess this quest up, not through like a lack of knowledge or paying attention, but just forgetting that there's like an extra wrinkle on top of everything else. You've got to manage your one fold, you've got to win the round, you've got to maintain like the best suit, the luck of it all. Again, one of these quests where it's like very complex and very specific to like optimize, and I was very happy to have a walkthrough.
Mm-hmm.
So in discussing who's going to be the 3 players, Chloe opts out because students at the academy aren't allowed to gamble, and everyone's very reasonably okay with that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Let's not get the princess suspended. So she opts out, and it's going to be Estelle, Agate, and Olivier. Then they try and figure out who will go in what order based on sort of level of card shark skill.
Yes.
So Estelle straight up says, like, I don't know shit about gambling.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at this. Agate says he's pretty good, and Olivier's kind of like, I'm fine. Like, I'll just be in the middle. So we decided to go Agate, Olivier, and then Estelle finally.
Oh, so we flipped it because Shara was the best gambler in our party, but she went last. So we did Estelle, then Olivier, and then Shara.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Different tactics for different players, yeah.
As Estelle's like, I always lose to Joshua. And Shara's like, yeah, I've heard you're really bad at this.
Yeah. She gets to kind of play a little bit cooler in my version because no one knows her that intimately.
Yeah. Do you want me to run through mine?
Yeah, let's go through yours.
So basically, first Estelle, gets her hand, and the other guy, whose name I still can't, it's like Felio or something. Anyway, he's like boasting.
It's Felio, yes. He refers to himself at one point as do all 3 of you want to have a piece of the Fella Master at the same time?
That's so bad. I think that's why I just like tried to erase his whole name from my brain. Basically, he's going on about how good his hand is. And you get the little thing on the side of, because what happens is that the 3 party members who aren't playing that round are like kind of commenting on what's going on.
Yeah.
Which is kind of your cue as to what you're supposed to do, right? Like they'll be like, he's boasting so much, he's probably doesn't have a great hand and is trying to psych you out. And so that's where you know, okay, I should challenge. And Estelle had 1 pair, had like 3 of the same suit, and was like, I could go for a flush or I could play it safe. And I play it safe, which is the right thing to do in this context. And Estelle gets 1 pair, but the other guy folds. He's like, well, my hand is great and I would easily win, but I'll fold. And it's like, why are you posturing at this point? So Estelle pulls it off and gets a victory, and the guy has folded, so now he has no more folds. Next, we have Olivier. He gets a pair, and the other guy is like, oh, this is fine. My hand is fine. Like, he's underplaying it, which means it's probably pretty good.
Yeah.
I, exchange everything except the pair. The other guy exchanges something, but is still playing it really, like, quiet. And so, as Olivier, I fold, and the guy's mad about it, but which clearly means that, he had a good hand. So now we folded. We do get comments from Shara that his poker face is actually really good. Like, he plays it very well. But then it's Shera's turn. And what Shera says before we go in is Shera says, I have an ace up my sleeve in case we're screwed.
Okay.
And Shera, you'll remember, did grow up in a traveling circus as a performer.
Mm-hmm.
So she clearly has some skills. What happens is she gets 3, I think, spades and then 2 other cards. And the other guy, this is when he's like, oh my God, did I get? Oh no, it's cool. It's my hand's okay. And he's like, he's clearly got an amazing hand. It's like, he says that basically, and he's like, oh shit, I need to try and play it quiet. So I swap my 2 non-spade cards and get 1 of the spade and 1. Oh, and to be clear, it's 4 of the 5 cards in a royal flush. I can't remember. It might have been like 10, king, queen, jack, but the last one is a heart. And Cher's like, that's okay. As long as I got 1 more spade, I'm fine. Now I hope my hands are still as quick as they used to be. The other guy lays out his hand, and it's a royal flush. I think it was hearts, might have been diamonds. And then Shera lays hers out. She gets, like, the S-Craft, like, animation thing across, like, of her eyes, like, cutting in, like, a critical hit animation type thing. As she lays her hands out, and she has a royal flush in spades. And Estelle notices as she pulls out her last card, her hand doing something weird.
Oh.
So Shera clearly cheats. She does a sleight of hand, but it works. We don't get all the details, and the guy loses. It doesn't kill his ambition, but his wife says that's okay. Like, this has broken his confidence, and the house will be able to, like, take him down from now. Like, now that it's, like...
Yeah.
But the way she says is, like, obviously, these are professionals. Like, the house isn't gonna let him win, like, in the end. So I'm like, so why did you need us to do it in the first place? But I guess it was like she wanted his downfall to start before he gambled all their money away.
She just wanted to expedite the process, yeah.
But yeah, so that's how it goes for me. Because it's spades, right? Because it's spades and spades is weighted highest, my royal flush is stronger than his royal flush. Anyway, how did it go with Agate in the party?
So, slightly different with them. I was wondering if it'd just be the same hands as well, but it seems like they do play out a little differently.
Huh.
So, starting off with Agate, he gets kind of a crap hand. He doesn't really have he doesn't have a pair, he doesn't have much in the way of, like, suits. The only close thing he has is a king and a 4 of clubs.
Okay.
And the rest is just a mixture. So I kept just the king and swapped out everything else because that was the only chance he really had. Doesn't actually work out. The only thing he gets is 2 pair. It's like king and 9 of clubs over 6 and 4 of hearts. So it's really kind of a bleh hand. But at the same time, Felio or Filio, I really hope it's not Filio because then he'd be the Feely Master, and that doesn't sound good.
That's really bad.
Yeah. He's sort of acting like he's got nothing. And this is actually one thing I found a little bit confusing about this mission, because they make it sound like he's bad at bluffing in that he doesn't bluff. So I thought we were going into this with someone who's just going to announce what his hand was, but then all the conversations are about, like, it's always the opposite.
I think the idea is that he's not convincing as an actor, but he's saying the thing. But yeah, it's confusing the way they explain, the way his wife is like, yeah, he's bad, he can't bluff.
Another way that I think this quest would have misled me if I was just taking it on face value as I read it, but, you know, that's what guides are for. So, with nothing really to speak of in his hand, Agate chooses to challenge because it seems like the other guy is just pretending he has something when he doesn't. He also charges up, he gets his yellow aura of his S-Craft and then the cut-in of his eyes. And this guy is, like, pissing his pants. He's like, oh my god, I fold. And just immediately folds on the first hand.
Amazing. So he folded on the first hand in both of our cases, but played out differently.
Next up, Olivier comes through. After getting very, very horny for Agate, for intimidating this man, he says, a virile man such as he simply begs for my affections by furrowing his brows so pointedly. And then it's his turn to play. The only thing he's got in his hand is a pair of 4s, like a heart and a club. Mm-hmm. So pretty much just threw the rest of the cards away because they were trash. And it resulted in nothing, really. So Olivier chose to fold because it seemed like the other guy actually had a hand this time because he's like, oh no, it's so terrible. Mm-hmm. So we've now had fold on both sides, which means that the final round is going to decide everything. Olivier has a line that talking about, why did you fold? You blah, blah, blah. And he's like, look, it's easier to rebake a cake than to recoat the frosting, which is his way. Is like, I couldn't salvage the hand, but we can get him next time.
Yeah.
Then finally it's Stell's round. She gets a kind of awkward draw. It's like she's got a couple of diamonds, but there's nothing really to make a hand out of. So basically she just says, this hand's not going to get me anywhere. and is starting to panic, at which point Olivier steps forward, slides up next to the dealer behind the table, and softly blows in his ear.
Oh my god, he pulls that again?
He just runs over and goes, "Phoo."
He did that with the fisherman, with Lloyd the fisherman last time.
Yeah, it's his go-to move.
I love that.
So he just like blows softly in his ear. It says Olivier blew in the dealer's ear. He gets freaked out and kind of backs away, and then it's like, please get out of here. Please go away. And Olivier's like, oops, my mistake. I just love gambling, or some stupid excuse, and then backs off. So after having a bit more time to consider, Estelle just exchanges all of her cards and takes an entirely fresh hand because she's like, I don't know. When they go to sort of show their hands, it turns out that he has all hearts in like a flush, ace, king, queen, jack, 10.
Yeah.
So she's like, well, shit, what's my hand? And then it turns out that she's got ace, king, queen, jack, 10, but in spades.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And because spades are higher weighted, she wins the hand with a spade royal flush. Afterwards, they do reveal that, or they kind of hint that Olivier ducked in, and while he distracted the dealer, he had reshuffled the cards to make sure she would get a good hand.
Amazing.
Don't know how he achieved that.
No idea. He and Cher are a match made in heaven. Both of them can cheat at cards.
So apparently he was able to like card count or something and then reshuffle the deck in an instant while flirting with a man and save the day.
Olivia is skilled.
At the end of the day, it turns out both teams won by cheating.
Yes. What a great moral.
Yeah, same outcome. The wife says, you've put a dent in his armor. The casino will take care of the rest. This will just like get it done a bit quicker, and maybe we can actually spend some time together. As they're wrapping up, though, Olivier has a line. He's like, Agate was so moved by my gallantry in the second round that he's been dying to make a move on me ever since. And Agate's just like, stop spouting random crap, you dumbass. To which Olivier responds, come now, my red-maned beau. There's no reason to hide your feelings. Or are we playing hard to get? Oh, Agate, you shy little boy.
Oh my gosh.
At which point, Agate threatens to beat the shit out of him.
Of course.
And then it was done. We solved this man's gambling addiction a little bit. Hooray.
A little bit. Hooray. Yeah, we got him. All right, and that was the gambling side quest. Now the next one, I don't think we're going to go through every step of it because...
Oh, Jesus, no. Absolutely not.
So we go see Niall. Dorothy's passed out. We kind of she explained it to Niall in kind of a haze that he didn't understand. So we translate the explanation she gave Niall so he understands it. We learned that apparently the army and the government have basically ordered the press not to report on Ouroboros, and everyone's like, I guess it makes sense not to send people into a panic. And now it's like, yeah, but as a reporter, it pisses me off. Like, even though I understand the logic. And I'm like, I appreciate that someone's saying that, like, censorship is still censoring the press is alarming, even if there's a reason. Yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that. Then as we leave, we say bye to Niall, but as we leave, we get dragged into an investigation.
Yeah.
Where they've called for bracers because someone in the election office HQ for Norman, who's running for mayor, someone was attacked, and there's a suspect who's from the other campaign.
From Portos's team.
And they called the bracers to try and sort it out. And what happens, it's like a really interesting idea that's executed really poorly, because the idea is kind of like an Ace Attorney-like system, right? Where you talk to people, you get like keywords, and then you use those keywords to interrogate other people. The problem is that it's
terrible.
Yeah, it's not well implemented.
It's so bad.
There's a few issues with it, but one of the issues is that you get every keyword to present to every person, and it's not obvious which one makes sense for the person. Like, you don't get context cues like, this person says they heard something. Let's ask them about sounds. It's just you kind of have to guess at random unless you're following a guide. It's also just a lot of, like, back and forth. No, you have to talk in the right order. You can't, like, ask this person about the question if you haven't asked this other person about something seemingly unrelated.
Yeah, so CliffsNotes version is basically you're running up and down the hotel, interacting with everyone who's there. You're locked in, so it's a locked room mystery. You have to talk to people to generate keywords that you can ask other people about. And so it's about talking to the right people with the right keywords in the right order to activate more keywords to talk to more people to eventually figure out what's going on. But yes, the problem is every keyword becomes available to every person. We don't have a destination marker here to help guide us like we will in Tuned chapter when they remake that.
Yeah.
But It's so labyrinthine, and it doesn't help that there's no indicator when someone has new information or not.
Mm-hmm.
They don't like grey out options to say, oh, you've already done this one. They don't eliminate random ones that have nothing to do with the character because they always have a reaction.
Yeah.
But there's also times when you have to talk to the same person twice with the same prompt in
Yeah.
a row to get more information. And there's no hint to say, like, oh, you might need to press people for more information or something. That would then make you, like, want to sort of retry because it would feel more Ace Attorney. You're like,
Yeah.
I'm going to ask the question again and see if you react differently. But the checklist for this mission is so long in my walkthrough, which tells you explicitly only the people you need to talk to in which order in order to get through this with the least number of steps. It's 14 conversations running up and down that building. And there's like 5 people.
Yeah.
There's not that many people. There's the receptionist. There's Belden down in the basement who's like working at the hotel for his dad now that he's kind of gotten over his ghost thing. You've got
Down upstairs.
You've got his assistant. You've got a guy from Portos's camp who was there to deliver an apology.
And then the boat guy outside.
Boat guy, Murray. Yeah. And you're just running back and forth and back and forth. And it's stuff like you have to ask someone about lunch and then go talk to someone else and then go back and talk to that person about lunch again.
About lunch again.
Having not had any conversations with them in the meantime or hint that they might have new information based on what you've learned. And you're locked in. If you commit to this mission, you can't leave. You
can give up. You can talk to Agatha Shara and say, I give up.
You're right, yes.
But that's it.
I thought I was locked into this because I kept accidentally like triggering the front door when I tried to go up the stairs for the 3,000th time. And it'd be like, oh, we can't go until we finished. And I was petrified I was locked into this until I finally finished the mission and went to say who done it. And it's like the whole time there was a give up option. It's like, oh, I probably would have if I didn't have a step-by-step guide. Oof.
And then there's also some UI things that make it complicated. Like when you ask someone a question, it then exits the conversation. You don't like keep the menu open and get to pick like different topics to ask them about, which isn't the end of the world, but it's just those in this kind of game, like in a...
You're doing it so many times, yeah.
It's just those things make a big difference. I'm really curious to see how they do it in the remake, though. The TLDR is it turns out that the mayor candidate's son, Belden, was carrying a bunch of plates and kicked the door open to the balcony to try and air it out, and the guy who was assaulted quote unquote, was standing on the balcony and the door hit him and he got knocked out. And there was actually no crime.
Yeah.
Except not being cautious when opening doors.
They build it up though because along the way you get hints like, oh, like the assault specifically happened as the bell was ringing for the bridge, so it seemed premeditated, so no one would hear. And it just turns out it was all a big goof 'em up, and there isn't actually a threat to the electoral process. It's just Belden kicks doors before he thinks.
I did get a little bit of funny dialogue to do with this quest, just when we were learning about what the mission was, like talking to Norman and his associates or whatever, Olivier gives a suggestion, like says something smart, I guess, and Norman's like, yeah, that, and then he goes, incidentally, who are you? And Olivier like flips his hair, turns around and goes, I've been waiting for you to ask. And then he starts to give his introduction, I'm a bard extraordinaire, hunter of, and then Estelle just starts talking about the case, like cuts him off to keep asking questions to Norman, completely ignoring him. Olivier is like depressed, and Shara turns and goes, I guess Estelle's finally learned how to handle Olivier, huh? Which was cute.
I very much dislike this side quest. I'm glad it's over.
It's boring,
I hope we don't have to do this again, and if it does happen again in third or something, that they find a better way to do it. The one good thing was that I was happy at the end of this quest because when I went back to the Bracer Guild to turn it in, this was when I ranked up to F+.
Yes!
It's the funniest rank, I think. You're like the best of the worst. Congratulations.
It's failed. Good start for effort.
So that was very fun, and that was the only silver lining on this quest for me. I'm sorry to say, not a fan. But after that, it is time to go to the airport. We check in.
We're leaving. We're like, it's time to go. And then suddenly all the kids from the orphanage show up to say goodbye. And also Jill and Hans, and also Dean Collins and Matron Teresa. And everyone's just coming to say bye to us all. And we're like, oh, that's nice. And the kids are mad that Chloe was going to leave without saying bye. What's cute is as the airship leaves, as it's pulling out, you see all the kids like on the dock run along to watch the airship take off. And I thought that was so cute and like a real detail. Like that is what kids do when an airplane or a train or just anything is pulling out. And so I love that they put that detail in.
anytime I've been a kid or been around kids while someone's leaving in a car or a train, you do the run along thing for as long as you can. It was very cute. I was deeply upset that they skipped an airship animation. I thought that's what we were here for.
Yeah.
I need to see it every single time. Thank you very much.
Every single time. My God. What is this?
Weird of the headmaster to show up, I have to say. Like, Dean Collins, why are you here?
I guess because he's got custody of the princess. He's her appointed guardian. He maybe has to, like, feels a duty to see her off. Or maybe he was escorting Jill and Hans. Maybe he's the only one who's combat capable. But no, it is weird. I'm just making excuses.
It's like we barely interacted with him this visit. Like, we showed up, we talked to him about the case.
For 2 seconds.
We never even had a scene where we updated him to say what happened.
Yeah.
So he doesn't even know that this has been resolved as far as we're aware. But he's just here. But yeah, it's bye. Off we go in the Cecilia.
Yes.
On our trip to Zeiss. And we get to, once again, I'm liking these little, like, intermission things on the airships where we get to run around and check in with folks.
I love those so much. And you just have to talk to everyone before you can proceed. And I love that.
But I enjoy it because a lot of the stuff I missed in first chapter was just, like, general NPC dialogue that gives, like, hints, the same way the newspapers do to sort of tell you what the next story beat's going to be.
Yeah.
Like, here's some stuff about Elmo Village, and now you're going to go there, that kind of stuff. But in these airships, you've got a bunch of people from all over, all going to the place you're about to end up on. So they're all talking about that place, and it makes sense that they're all talking about that place. And you get all these little, like, story threads for where you're about to land.
Yeah.
It's a really great way of kind of, like, focusing in that information that was available, but you might miss, and there's not enough of them that it feels like you're really being, like, dragged along and forced to talk to everyone.
Sure.
Because I think it's actually, like, you have to hit key people, including your party, and then the next, like, up-down transition, you go from room to room. That's when it's sort of like, hey, we're landing.
Which I was annoyed because I didn't get to go below deck at all before I talked to everyone. So I went to upstairs, but I wanted to go down to the basement area and I couldn't go down because I talked to the people upstairs, and then when I came downstairs, it cut me off and was like, bye.
Well, I did manage to do a full lap because I avoided my party like the plague until I was ready to talk to them. I've learned from my mistakes.
Like, in my head, I was like, there's going to be 5 people. So a 5th party member, there isn't one.
But yeah, doing a bit of a lap around the airship. The first thing of note I found was in the observation lounge.
Oh, yes.
Big, beautiful windows. Crew member Alex says that she's happy that the passenger sitting by the window, a blonde-haired man with a full glass of red wine, has finally quieted down because he was forcing duets with the passengers.
Yep.
And she's like, thank goodness that passenger has finally quieted down. I thought I was going to have to step in and brain him with his instrument.
Yeah.
Until a little while ago, he was playing some very bright tunes on his lute. Bright. He even forced me into a duet with him.
You should be honored to duet with Olivier Lindheim.
Honestly. Olivier, consistent as always. I went over and talked to him. He, like, tries to hand me this horny banned book.
Yeah.
I've got this book. It's banned in Erebonia, so I'm reading it here because I can't get it back home. And it's just like, if you're trying to push smut on me, Olivier, I swear to Idios.
She says smut. It's amazing. Like, I love that Estelle says, if you're just trying to push smut on me, but that is how you get the next volume of Gambler Jack, if that's what if you're collecting. Which is not actually horny at all. It's I'm not sure why I guess because it's about gambling. Maybe that's why they banned it in Erebonia. But
maybe
or because it's about gangs, or I don't remember why. I don't remember if there's something else controversial, like maybe it's anti-imperialism. I don't know, but it's not horny. But he does not really dissuade Estelle from the thought that it is.
Yeah. At the same time, though, he's very complimentary to Estelle about, like, her strength as a person, her fashion sense, and her relationship with Joshua. So he's walking that fine line at the moment. He's like, yes, I am still a horny idiot, but also I can be nice.
Exactly. The duality of man.
I also, the big one was up on not the flight deck, the deck. The poop deck?
Yeah, outside.
The sky poop deck.
Okay.
Chloe's out there sitting by the railing. Estelle looks up and basically just starts quizzing her about, like, the logistics of being a secret princess.
Yes.
How do you get home? Do you get picked up in Air Force One? And she's like, no, I catch, like, a passenger flight because it's a secret. And it's like, how often do you go home? New Year's and Queen Day, the Queen's birthday. Then she's like, what happens with Sig? Where does he go? And she's like, oh, yeah, whoop, whoop. And, like, whistles for him, and down he comes. Estelle's like, he's flying alongside the airship? That's crazy, because this is a commercial airship.
Yeah.
And at this point, she says that he can fly at up to 1,800 Selgay an hour.
Yeah.
I went and looked up the units of measurement. 1,800 Selgay is 1,800 meters.
That's about 1,800 times 109 yards imperial, or 111.8 miles per hour, I think. I'm Australian, what would I know?
So he can go 180 kilometers an hour, and an airship averages half that speed. So an airship travels an average of 90 kilometers an hour. I was like, that's an insane speed for a bird to go. So I looked up how fast an actual gyrfalcon can travel in real life. An actual real-life gyrfalcon can do a maximum horizontal speed of 145 kilometers an hour.
What the fuck?
Don't worry, I got you. It's about 90 miles an hour.
So not like a diving speed. At diving speed, they can hit like 175 or something, so they get close. But traveling horizontally alongside an airship, he's fast even for a bird of his type. So he can go like 40 kilometers faster than a real-life gyrfalcon. So he's like a supersonic bird.
But it's still insanely fast, like a real-life gyrfalcon. That's still really fast. Like, wow.
Yeah. I was just, as soon as they started saying measurements, I'm like, I must convert this, I must know.
Yeah.
And it turns out, yeah, he's just like a hyperbird. He's Sonic the Hedgehog.
That's insane. I found out from Shira that Erebonians like trains, which I knew, and Calvardians like buses.
Okay.
She has to explain what a bus is to a cell. She explains it's basically a really high-powered orbital carriage. And you book flights. I mean, you book passage ahead of time, like a flight. It's slower than an airship, but it's more comfortable, which I didn't get the impression that airships were uncomfortable, so I'm confused about that.
No.
Buses are pretty uncomfortable, like, a lot of the time, so I don't know.
Yeah, this is luxe. You can like get up and walk around.
Yeah, like buses are not, I've never thought of buses, I've been on a lot of buses. I don't mind them, but they're not a comfortable mode of travel. We also found out that she first met Jin in Calvard's Eastern Quarter on a mission for Cassius.
Oh.
We've seen the Eastern Quarter in later games, so that was just a really fun little connection.
Interesting. Okay. By contrast, Agate's conversation had a little bit different focus. Estelle basically asks him why he respects Dad, Cassius, so much, but is constantly like ripping on him and making fun of him, calling him old man and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. He says it's basically because he gets frustrated because every time he sees Cassius, it's all good work or what a good kid, treating me like some fresh-faced punk. And says it like gets on his nerves, basically. Estelle's like, I don't get it. Why? And she's like, oh, it's different for you because you're a girl. And here comes feminist Agate once again. He says, it's good you're a girl because a boy Stell would be rebelling at this age against the toughest wall of a dad ever because it's like a boy's prerogative to rebel against his father, apparently. She's like, oh, okay. So does that mean that you have a father complex about Cassius? Agate's just like stunned to silence. He's just like, it doesn't really come back with anything, but he's like, he looks like mad. And she's like, okay, sorry if I hit a nerve. Didn't mean it.
That's so good.
And then he finally recovers and says, you are just like your dad.
I love that.
Basically implying that, like, he always goes for the jugular with the emotionally intelligent joke like this. So emotionally intelligent Estelle strikes once again.
Yes.
And really rocks Agate's world. I don't think he realized what he was taking on when he decided to hang out with this girl for the start of this game. But he's learning, and it's very funny to see him get his comeuppance even as he's trying to improve, because it means that he doesn't lash out afterwards and, you know, backhand her off the airship or whatever he would normally do.
Backhand her off the airship.
He's just like, I've been got, and I need to sit and think in this for a minute. So I kept wandering around the airship after that.
That's so good. I love that. So funny. I got another bit of funny dialogue, or interesting dialogue, rather. Not funny, just from a passenger who mentioned that Alan Richard is under guard at, I think he said, Leyston Fortress.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, much of the old intelligence division is still at large, hasn't been taken into custody, they're just skulking around.
Oh, Agatha is probably still crawling around in those ruins somewhere. She must have been listening in on Kevin and Julia when they had the conversation. You know, halfway up a column, clinging to the side.
Just burrowing in the walls with her long nails.
Yeah, those pointed acrylics come in handy. Oh, God. The one other thing I had a couple of NPCs mention is they're talking about a 3-country peace pact that's coming together.
That's been mentioned a few times now, yeah. That's what they were fighting about.
The two ambassadors at the airport. But yeah, like, again, the queen is kind of pushing it. Alicia's like on top of this. She wants the peace pact to really work because they have a good relationship with Calvard, but a strained relationship with Erebonia because of the war.
The war, yeah.
So they're just trying to like get everyone to come to the table together so we can just kind of move forward as nations. So Queen Alicia, voice of reason in national politics once again.
As always.
I think that was about all of note I had before we finished up our trip to the Zeiss Central Factory and Zeiss Town.
I landed in Zeiss, and you landed in Zeiss, it sounds like, so we can Zeiss it up.
Let's Zeiss it up.
Zeke! So we get off the airship, and everybody else gets off ahead of us, and we're the last people off, and so we immediately stop right when we get off the walkway, which is like the worst thing. You know when somebody gets off an escalator and stops right at the bottom of an escalator, and you're like, I hope you fucking die?
Yep.
So that's what we do. I'm like, I can't believe I wish death on myself right now, but I do. And talk about the first thing we should do is go check in with Kilika, and Olivier likes her name, is immediately just intrigued by the existence of Kilika.
Yeah, Olivia's like, Kilika, who's that? Sounds hot.
Yeah, and Shara explains who Kilika is and says she's also quite lovely, but doesn't have time for frippery. And she puts frippery in like quotation marks. And she goes, I would advise caution, my dear Lenheim. She says the phrase my dear Lenheim to address him a few times, so this chapter is quite funny. And then immediately... Does Agate say anything in response to...
He's responsible for describing Kilika in my version.
Yes.
With a soft smile on his face. He says, she's bolder than Scheherazade, as capable of running a guildhouse as the queen herself, and a master of Eastern martial arts. In fact, word of advice, don't even try unless you want her to rearrange your face.
Yeah. Then immediately, an earthquake suddenly hits. Everyone's freaking the fuck out, and Olivier shouts... Is this the fury of Kilika?
Yep. He does the same in mine. Look, this is a man who at least knows how to keep himself alive. When you get a warning from the universe, you take it.
Yeah.
But I do like Estelle's response afterwards that she's like, again with that deadpan face that I've come to love so much. She's like, it wasn't very strong, but attention world. Please wait until I'm not on scaffolding before you shake again. Love, Estelle.
It was so good. I screenshotted that too. It's best.
Hey, look, this new Estelle, I'm loving her more and more. Like, this rounded character where she just has like a point where she stops being the eternal optimist and she's just like, we need to go. Stop it. I scrolled past the line too quickly to get a screenshot of the fury of Kilika, but it is one of the goats.
I do that a lot, but that one I managed to get.
Boy, do I miss having the text log that you can pull up at any moment in the later games.
I know. God, I can't wait. I can't wait till we hit Crossbell and can do that. Yeah.
Oh, one thing I did notice during the earthquake, when it's happening, you do get sort of a wider shot of the airport of everyone else reacting.
Yes.
And some of the other passengers react. There's a couple people are sort of running back and forth, but my favorite was like the rich couple, because they're in like the hoity-toity clothes. As the earthquake's happening, they just spin on the spot. They're just doing like 360s.
They're also T-posing and spinning in circles.
It's just like, I love that they're doing something. After that, it's time to head into the guild and sort of check in, see if there's any sort of immediate problems we need to solve after an earthquake. Olivier walks in the door, immediately starts crushing on Kilika and offers her a bespoke song, at which point she follows the party line and just talks over the top of him like he'd never said anything in the first place.
And he's just depressed about this. We get a great line from Shara after, as Olivier just like, sinks into despondency, realizing Kilika's not going to let him sing his improvised song. Shara goes, well, putting aside our repressed musician for now, and then she goes into the thing, but I just like that she calls him our repressed musician.
I don't think there's anything repressed about Olivier Lenheim.
Not at all. That's the best part.
After checking in, Kilika tasks us with our first major mission, which is to look into the quake that just happened. Mm-hmm. She gives us some backstory in that Wolf Fort had an almost identical quake a few days before, but the really strange thing is that it wasn't felt anywhere but Wolf Fort. Not in town.
Extremely localized earthquake.
Not at any of the other sort of security posts. Like, I think it's Sanktheim Gate is not too far away, but they didn't feel anything. So we need to figure out what happened there, whether they felt the earthquake that we just had.
Well, our first goal quickly becomes to go see Tita, because this is Cheetah Town, and we love our cheetah. So we all basically talk, and we're like, yes, we're gonna go say hi to Tita before we go.
Cannot miss a Tita opportunity. Also, she might know something.
Yes.
Her and the professor might have some information on the earthquake that can help us as well.
We did just see a gospel. We do need to talk to him about the gospel we just saw.
So we head over to Tita's house as the first port of call. As we step inside, everything's messed up. There's sort of like stuff scattered and all this kind of thing. And we like, oh, are they here? And then you hear Tita shouting across the house to Grandpa, and Grandpa shouting back politely. I really like, she's like, Grandpa, I cleaned up in here. And you hear him shout, thank you very much.
Yeah.
So it's lovely that behind closed doors, he's much kinder to his granddaughter than he is to literally every other human being on the planet.
He's not really mean to everyone, except he's just like takes everyone as assumes you're a lab rat.
Yeah.
A lab grunt, or you're agate. Like that does give us, but he's perfectly pleasant usually to Estelle and Joshua when he realizes they're not his new lab assistant. Agate's the one who gets the bulk of his fury. But no, he's sweet to Tita, which is very good.
So as we walk in and introduce ourselves, Tita immediately like leaps on Estelle and starts crying, which is very cute. She's like...
She says she didn't think she was going to see Estelle again because Estelle left the country.
Yeah, because again, all she heard is like Estelle left Grand Cell to go home, and then left home to go to another country.
And Joshua had run away.
Tita's parents are already MIA. The poor girl's got separation anxiety to a crazy degree.
She does. Well, and right after they had said, we'll be your family now.
Bye.
You're our little sibling now. You're our little sister. We're your family now. And then they disappeared just like our other family, like to another country. Like, poor kid. And even Estelle's like, shit, I should have talked to you before I went to the camp.
But yeah, we catch up a little bit. Everyone sort of gets an update. We talk about the gospel to Electric Boogaloo that we just encountered at the old schoolhouse. And Estelle makes a point of noting that it didn't shut down the orbal devices like their orbments and stuff in the room like the black orbment did. It had a different effect.
Yeah. And then we get some weird stuff from Professor Russell that's like more confusing than it is informative, where he's like, actually, it doesn't disable orbital devices, the gospel. I think it just warps orbital fields, but it doesn't suppress them. And Estelle doesn't understand what he's talking about. Tita tries to explain it, but Estelle's just like, I don't really get it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of with you.
Yeah, they basically say orbital fields are electromagnetic fields. So it's just like it messes with the electromagnetic waves. So it can't stop them, but it can reshape them. So it sounds like maybe when the black orbment was stopping stuff, it was sucking the power out of stuff or sending an off signal, or I don't know. Yeah,
like orbital fields obey very like specific rules, and this one doesn't obey any of the rules and like warps them to something like that. But it is, I took screenshots, but I didn't really get.
He specifically says that the quartz inside it, the quartz circuitry is not capable of shutting down orbital systems. It just it does not have that functionality, that capability, that level of complexity or something. So it's just like maybe it was like a side effect instead. Who knows?
Yeah.
But we update him on the hologram projector that Blue Blanc was playing with, and Professor Russell says that might have given some new ideas about the gospel for him to investigate. Yes. Having information about this reproduction might lead to info about the original, but he'll need some time to cook on it before he can get back to us.
And he asks Tita to help him with this research, so Tita can't join us yet, which is too bad. We also get, at least for me, Olivier expresses jealousy of like Tita and Estelle's reunion, and like how much like Tita loves Estelle and whatever. And Estelle is basically like, you back the fuck off. Like the day that you he's like, oh, one day I'll have, I'll be Tita's favorite, something along those lines. And Estelle's like, yeah, and on that day you'll have 2 black eyes. And
I had the
Olivier is like scared, and the Scheherazade goes, all's fair in love and siblings, my dear Lenheim. Again with the my dear Lenheim, but yeah, love and siblings, which is cute. I like that everyone is like, yes, like Tita is Estelle's little sister now. Found family are real. It's important. We all acknowledge the validity of this. I like that.
Interestingly, in my version, at the same time as Estelle acting like a big sister, Agate goes into Big Brother mode again.
Oh, nice.
He's immediately looking out for Tita. He's like making sure she's okay. They have a very warm reception when they walk in. The professor says, my, well, if it isn't that red-headed man with a ridiculously huge sword, or something to that effect.
Accurate.
Again, it was a good line that I just scrolled past too fast to catch it. But yeah, it's like a good reception. Like Tita's happy to see him as well when he rocks up.
They spent so much time together, yeah. Because they were on the run together.
Yeah, she's like, Agate, where have you been? It's been so long. She's so excited to see him. And yeah, he's just like making sure she's good when she's off to work with the professor and that before they leave. So he's in big bro mode again, which I think is probably for the best.
Yes.
Yeah, the professor mentions that he has some ideas involving the Capel, the super Google machine that they have. So he's going to go work on that while we wander around. Did you do a lap around Zeiss at this point?
I did. I didn't do every single person because like I kind of just didn't have it in me. But mostly people were basically recovering from the earthquake. There was one really funny bit where there's this kid who's like obsessed with stacking the jars or the cans outside of the general store, and he was there in last game too, playing with them. But there's this one woman who's like, I can't believe the store owner won't let me touch the canned goods because he's like arranging them. Like, what arranging does they need? And I realized she's talking about this kid who's playing with the cans and like thinks he's the store owner and not letting her like try to purchase the canned goods. There's never an explanation beyond that, so it's like I have to assume that is in fact what's happening. He says he's adjusting them. What the heck is there to adjust? And it's just a little kid like piling cans on top of each other to build a castle. And this woman's like, I can't believe I can't go shopping because the store owner, who is this 4-year-old or whatever. Beyond that, there's some people on the houses in Zeiss are quite nice. A lot of them have like balconies on the second floor, and there's some people out there who like all of their planters have kind of been falling over and they're rearranging them.
Yeah.
There's some chat about, how earthquakes are pretty rare, but there wasn't that much. Everyone is just kind of like, oh, gotta reorganize my stock, now that it all got knocked over.
Yeah, the only two of note that I really did catch, because I didn't do a full lap at this point. I kind of got a couple in there all like, there was an earthquake, and so I figured I would get much wandering around. One was a mother and son on their balcony outside their house who'd had all their planters fall over. And the mother, who must be like a scientist who works at Zeiss, and just on her off day, she's like putting the plants back. She's like, all right, I've righted them all, so they're all okay. But I should reinforce the structure so this doesn't happen again. But to do that, I'll probably need to reorganize them. And the kid's off to the side just saying, Mom, are we done? Which I thought was very cute. She's gone like full optimization scientist route. The other one was I did do a wander through Zeiss Central Factory a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Before doing any of the quest stuff. And ran across Antoine, who's hanging out in the labs again.
Yes, I saw him. He didn't say anything much. Just the nya.
No, he just said meow, which just means what's wrong, which means he's also reacting to the earthquake.
Oh, that's really cute. That he's reacting to the earthquake. That really got me. My God, I'm like, oh, Antoine, he doesn't understand the earthquake is.
Sweet Antoine. Because yes, I scrolled back and found my translation dictionary from last game.
I had no doubt that you had done that, actually. Like, it did not even occur to me that you might not have done that.
I hope we run into more cats this game. I also just found my screenshot of this specific line Professor Russell says when he sees Agate, which is actually better than I remembered. He says, I do believe my work is being disrupted by a big, loud oaf with a sword the size of an airship.
That's cute.
But yeah, that was about all I found before I started diving into the side quests, because again, we have so many side quests.
So fucking many.
Which side quest would you like to start with, Lex?
Well, I guess I'll start with, while we're in Zeiss Central Factory, I picked up a side quest that I did not finish yet, where there's a new model orbital gun that needs to be tested, and basically I picked that up for Olivier so that he'll get the new gun, and all of his combat will start counting toward it. You basically need to fight like 10 or 15 or something monsters with it equipped. I haven't gone back yet. I've probably fought that many monsters, but I haven't. But I picked that up.
Yeah, I picked up that one as well.
But then after that, I think the first quest, full quest I did, was a certain guild missing sign. Did you do that?
I did.
Okay, I knew you did it. I just didn't know if you did it when.
I picked up the orbital gun stuff as well. I did like that when they're deciding if they have a relevant candidate to test the gun, Estelle says, with the text double the size halfway through the sentence.
Yes, I've got that screenshotted too.
Sure, he might be a total weirdo, but his skill with a gun is legit. Olivier taking L's left and right. You could call him L-Livier.
I love that the scientist is really weirded out by Olivier because he introduces himself with his whole "I'm a hunter of love" or whatever, and this guy keeps being like, "Is it okay to trust my gun to this man? My high tech thing? Is it really? Should I really be giving him this thing?"
Olivier does not advocate for himself very well.
He does not.
But yes, after that one, there was Stolen Sign quest, where Kilika tells you that the guild sign from out front has been stolen by a criminal in disguise.
Oh my god, we've heard of somebody who wears disguises and steals things before. And as soon as we point out that sounds familiar,
we find out that a note was left on a very familiar stationery, in a very familiar floral prose, in a very familiar voice.
It's a Phantom Thief B quote.
Phantom Thief boo-boo note, and here's what it says. Ahem.
Take it away.
Beauteous princess and her companions, the soul of gathered heroes is in my hands. Should you desire its release, you must defeat my curse. The first key is in the city. Search the back. Sorry. I forgot about this line. Search the back of the 40-year-old man.
Which is in square brackets around 40-year-old man.
As though 40-year-old man is a key item.
Yeah. Or like it's...
Fill in the blank, like a Mad Lib.
Yeah. Exactly. It's a Mad Lib.
It's, what a line. And I actually immediately knew what this one was.
Me too.
From adventuring around Zeiss last time. The 40-year-old man.
We spent so much time talking about the clock in lab during the first game.
The back of the 40-year-old man is the back of the Orbital clock in Zeiss. The first Orbital clock to be deployed. So you reach around the back and there's another card. This one says, Beauteous princess and her companions, that which you seek is yet far off. Your second key is in the central factory. Search within the wisest one.
I got this one immediately too. That's the capital. Though what's weird about it is that he has gone in and added an entry that immediately self-destructs or deletes itself when you've read it. Just that gives his next clue. He's like, write this down immediately because this will self-destruct, and it's under the missing bracer sign or whatever, as a subject.
Yeah, I was expecting he'd have another note stuck to the side of the machine or something, and there's nothing around the room that you can interact with. But when you do go into the menus, it's under Central Factory, Universal Tech, and then the Bracer Guild sign.
Yes.
Because the Bracer Guild is universal technology, I suppose.
Well, the sign is. I don't know about the guild. It hangs on something. That's pretty high. It's pretty advanced, Matt.
That's like a hinge. That's technology, for sure.
Yeah.
But he has taken the time to write a full, Zeissopedia entry for the Bracer Guild sign. It says, a metal sign removed from the Zeiss branch of the incompetent Bracer Guild by the genius and dashing Phantom Thief Blue Blanc. While its financial value is insignificant, the shock to guild members is likely considerable, and reading this now must fill you with shame. I have probably said enough. I need to provide the next key.
He's such a troll. I love him so much.
His next card is digital, so he's sent an e-card, which says, the third key is in the city. Gaze up at the three hatted brothers. And then, it says it's going to self-delete as soon as you leave. You are recommended to commit this entry to a memo immediately.
I love that he's reminding us about our Bracer notebook.
Very kind of him, never forget. This one is a little tougher,
I knew immediately that it was a chimney. I clocked that immediately, but I didn't know where. So I went to the rooftop because there's 3 chimneys in a row on the rooftop of the central factory.
Oh.
And it wasn't those. It ended up being ones, I think it's the pub, that are all 3 different sizes.
Yeah, it's like the sidewall of the pub. It's the only one they mentioned that has 3 chimneys of different sizes. And brothers don't have to be different ages to be brothers.
Yeah, twins are still brothers, you know that?
But in any case, when we get there, there's another paper note stuck to the side of the chimneys, which says, the door has already been opened. Let the souls of heroes descend into the quiet earth. Raise your voice high and chant to the goddess, C-26D-E.
That one's so funny.
Shout that to the goddess. She'll get it, This one, as you're reading it, it sounds like maybe you're going to the church, but then as soon as you hear, a serial number, it's clear that it's back to the factory.
The fact that he's, into the earth, you're like, okay, underground.
Yeah, I was like, are we going into the catacombs of does the chapel have catacombs that we're going to explore or something? That would be cool.
That would be so sick.
It's back to somewhere underground. They very clearly identify that is where we're headed. Having done my little lap up and down the Zeiss building, I had actually briefly checked in with
Faye, right?
Faye in the basement. There was actually a conversation we had just before starting the quest, where it's just like, Estelle has these with everyone, just like a little check-in, just like, oh, hey, how you going? And it doesn't really say much, it's just like, she's been working and everything's going well.
Gotcha.
It's nice to see you, but I've got to get back to work. And then when I came for the quest, we basically just hand her this thing, is like, does this mean anything to you? Her reaction is like, the goddess underground, is this about
Is
me?
that me?
Love that, like, self-possessed nature of Faye, that she's like, a hottie in a cave? That's me, probably. I wish to have that kind of confidence.
I, too, am a hottie in a cave, obviously.
Yeah, Faye's just been down here on shift, waiting for things to come down the conveyor belt, considering Plato's cave of hotties. Faye's just standing down here in the basement, looking at this, like, bangin' bod silhouetted on the wall, and she's like, damn, that me, I look good.
Goddess.
But after we clear up with Faye, no, that's not the important bit. The important bit is the religious iconography of C-26D-E. So she calls someone up on the conveyor belt system and says, hey, do you have this? They say, yep, oh, crazy, we do have something for that. That's so weird. And they send it down, and it is, dun-da-da-da, a completely unprotected, unencased sign.
Yeah.
That's just been rumbling around on conveyor belts for who knows how many miles. Oh, sorry, Selgay.
It's probably not in great shape.
Even in Death Stranding, when they give you, like, a keychain or something, it comes in one of those, like, airport security tubs. Couldn't they do that for our beloved guild sign, Blue Blanc?
You know, maybe that's why this was in the technology section, because the technology to make it never get harmed or bumped. Maybe it's preserved because maybe that's why it's technology. They've got wood technology, special shit. But we got our fucking sign. Thank God.
Hooray. So, run that back to the guild. We get to see a nice little shot of it hanging back on the sign hook and sort of swinging gently in the breeze.
Yeah.
It's good to be back.
And Killigan's like, okay, great, thanks for that. Now go to do your earthquake investigation, like I told you to.
Yeah, go do your real job. There was more side quests to do before we do that, though. The training assistance quest.
Oh gosh, yeah. So the army wants us to help them by beating them up, which we've done this before on a smaller scale with like some soldiers at the gate near Roland and like in chapter 1 of the first game when we were headed on like our first day of training.
Oh god, I can't remember the name, and I literally just played this in once demo.
At Vert Bridge, I think.
Vert Bridge, yes, it was Vert Bridge. So that's how we started our career, was beating up the army. So it's time for round 2 and round 3 and round 4, because this is 3 rounds.
And now they've given us reason to beat them up.
So we show up at Leyston Fortress, where Major Sid is now Lieutenant Colonel Sid.
Woohoo.
They're going to put us through multiple rounds of combat this time. So we're going to face up against some recruits, followed by some more advanced soldiers.
And that's supposedly all we're doing. Supposedly it's only going to be 2 rounds.
Supposedly, Sid. We get through the grunts, who are easy.
Yeah.
They're pretty easy to take down. They've got a bit of health, but they're not that bad. Then some grunts plus Officer Belk,
Yeah.
who is, I think, Sid's like second in command, basically.
Yeah, and he's tougher.
He's tougher, but still defeatable.
Yeah.
And then after that round, Sid's like, hey, Belk, do you got another round in you? And he decides to take to the field. So we're going to fight Sid himself and Belk and some other grunts. And this is where shit hit the fan.
What's so funny about this is the fact that Belk is like, yeah, I've got another round. So he runs off the field and then runs back. Like he had to go prep something. I'm like, what did you do? Did you go? It's like, did you have to go do a tactical vom? Like, get it out of your system?
Had to go touch up his foundation to cover all the bruises he just got so that he could come back fresh-faced.
This was rough. I made it through, but it was tough.
I lost the first time. I lost bad.
Oh.
Because Sid is just like spamming an area-wide magic attack.
Yeah, you can't let him get that attack off. It's too powerful. Arc Prominence.
It does so much damage. It's like 70 to 80% of your health, if you're lucky. So I lost the first time and didn't get the BP. So I actually wound back, went and did all the other side quests in this section of the chapter, and circled back when I was like level 49 with everyone, at which point I was able to do it a lot more handily. But yeah, it's all about like cancelling Sid as much as you can. You should not let him get a spell off. Also, annoyingly, even though I had a great augment set up, he's resistant to Anticept, the spell that mutes you basically, stop you from casting.
It's annoying.
So it's like, damn, the one thing I could have done through like clever augment placement, and I can't do it. It's so unfair. But I did eventually beat the crap out of him.
This might make you feel better. I believe you can get this spell on your augments later. The one he keeps spamming.
Ooh.
I believe it's one that will eventually be possible.
At that point, the spell will be okay because I have it, and I won't have a problem with it anymore. But for right now, yes. I did. Weirdly, though, during the fight, one of Sid's combat barks is like, feel the might of my divine blade. But I don't believe that Sid is a divine blade, is he?
He's not a divine blade. Definitely not. I think he was trained by Cassius, so maybe he means like...
He's like doing divine blade style.
Or maybe he was trained by Alan Richard, who was trained by... Alan Richard was trained by Cassius, so maybe it was that.
That's the third degree divine blade.
I'm guessing that he was trained by Cassius or Richard. I'm guessing.
So he's like plagiarizing divine blade. He's like claiming the name when he doesn't have a right to it. It's very unsportsmanlike. Lieutenant Colonel Sid. In any case, beat the crap out of him, and he gave me a gladiator headband.
Yes.
Which is one of the best accessories in the game. Recharges your CP more per turn.
Yes, good God.
I immediately slapped that shit on Agate because the problem I've been having with Agate all chapter so far is that his crafts take so many CP. Like, his moves are very helpful, but he burns through them so quickly. More CP more often means that Agate's not stuck twiddling his thumbs every other round. So hopefully he will be a better airship-sized blade master in the next few fights to come.
Hopefully your prophecy will be true. I don't have anyone as obvious to put it on as Agate. Like, I swapped around who had it depending on, like, for later on, at a certain point, I was doing a bunch of combat that was annoying me, and I was like, I'll just put it on Chloe because I want to make sure I can use her her big heal S-craft.
Yeah.
And then I put it on Sheriff for a bit because I wanted something with her. Like, I just kept swapping it around because I'm like, I don't know who I want it on. That is the one thing I will say that, like, Agate is better to have in your party comp than Shira, because like Estelle is my best physical unit right now, and Estelle's not that good of a physical. Like, she's fine.
Honestly, I'm finding that Estelle's hitting harder than Agate a lot of the time.
Really?
Like, Agate is more consistent. Like, all his moves are damage based, and Estelle's are a bit more like management-y. But I'm finding that like sometimes she's hitting 1k when he's only hitting 800 damage.
Interesting.
So maybe I'm just like lucky or something, or Agate's just really falling behind, but they're all like maintaining level at this point.
Yeah.
Though I am a little bit tired of Chloe. We're level 49 and she hasn't learned a single new craft yet. She's only got 2 moves and they're both single strike.
She has like very few crafts. Yeah, it's annoying.
It made sense when she was like a guest member more so during first chapter, but I feel like if I'm spending more time with her, then she needs a few more moves just to be more versatile. Like, sure, she's a great spellcaster, but she doesn't have any area crafts or anything. So really all you're saving her CP for is she has one damage move and one move that lowers strength and defense, and then her healing S-craft. So the only thing I'm using her for is like her healing S-craft. So it just feels like a bit underutilized. Did she get any new moves at all?
I'm not sure if she does, other than like the chain. So the chain attacks do like, as you level up, you get the ability to use more people in them. But I think like she upgrades her crafts. I'm not actually sure if she gets a new S-craft.
Oh, okay, good.
A damaging one, I think. She does get a damaging S-craft, but I don't think she gets another normal craft. Like, she's just there to do spells. And to have her healing thing. Yeah,
I think her damage dealing craft got upgraded towards the end of this like segment we played.
Yeah.
But yeah, I need a bit more, please, Chloe. I wanna use your powers. In any case, that wrapped up training assistance. We said farewell at Leyston Fortress and headed back. Now, there was one extra thing I did before heading off towards Wolffort.
Yes.
Which is like a little hidden BP thing.
Yes.
You might have gotten it if you'd been doing your rounds up and down Zeiss Central Factory already, but in basement floor of the Zeiss Central Factory, not the room where Faye is with the conveyor belts, but the one that leads into Chaldea Tunnel, you can speak to Rudy with an I.
Yeah, who I think has a crush on Faye. In the last game, he was like crushing on her.
Yes, that's right. They sit one room apart, and she's off like staring at shadows in a cave, and he's also staring at her shadow in the cave, I guess, because he's obsessed with her.
She has a boyfriend off at a fort somewhere. Maybe at Wolffort? Yeah.
think so, yeah. But Rudy mentions that he saw someone coming in through Carnelia Tunnel, which is unusual because no one really uses it because it's so dangerous, as we know from running through there with Teoh not that long ago.
Especially now that all the monsters are even stronger.
He talks about a creepy dude in black.
Yes, but there was something else about this creepy dude in black that stood out. He was wearing black glasses. Sunglasses.
What's that?
Estelle has to ask what those are, and we have to explain to her what sunglasses are, because that's not technology she's ever encountered.
Wild.
Which is just a fascinating choice to make as the thing that they didn't... Hang on, I wonder how old sunglasses are, because I would assume sunglasses have been around for a long time. I mean, the Inuit have had them since the 13th century.
Oh, that makes sense.
Or, an equivalent, that kind of thing.
Okay, apparently the earliest use of tinted lenses to reduce glare dates back to 12th century China, where they used smoky quartz to kind of diffuse light.
Haha, quartz. In the mid-1700s, so the earliest surviving depictions of a person wearing sunglasses is from 1772. So that's the oldest we have of a person wearing what we today recognize as sunglasses. So yeah, they should have sunglasses in. Estelle should know what sunglasses are.
But it's, again, just this crazy yo-yoing technology timeline of the Trails universe.
It's so interesting, yeah.
A scant few years from now, we'll be talking about, hate-mongering online groups or whatever. But now it's sunglasses? Who dat? But yes, apparently a huge dude, just absolutely swole as fuck, walked in, bulging out of a black suit with black gloves and black glasses.
It's so interesting how whenever we come to Zeiss, there's a giant dude around.
It does seem to attract them.
We met Jin in Zeiss, now there's this guy, huge swole dudes they fucking love it in Zeiss. We meet bears in Zeiss all the time.
Zeiss Central, Bear Central.
Yeah.
I have a feeling I know who this is from later games, because I can visualize a character who matches this description that I personally don't have a lot of backstory for.
Do you want to tell me who it is and we bleep it out of the episode?
Yeah, it's obviously...
Yeah.
In any case, yes, we get this kind of very specific description of a man wearing sunglasses, a thing that is extremely uncommon, so Agate says that should make it easy to find him, because you're not going to get any false positives, really. That's just an extra BP choice that if you don't pick it up, you miss out on 1 or 2 BP later on. There's absolutely nothing leading you there.
Yeah, it's so interesting that they have that as a BP thing, given how obscure it is.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose there are some monster elimination missions. There's one in Carnelia Tunnel that takes you down the tunnel, so it's reasonable to consider you'd go past that.
But you would have to do that before, the Carnelia, I haven't done the Carnelia monster thing yet, because I don't need to do that yet. I think it's just you have the whole chapter to do it.
The Carnelia Tunnel is one of the longer timescale missions, so you could entirely have missed it. But if you don't have this conversation before you go to Wolf Fort, you miss out on the BP. So I was lucky in that I have become so paranoid about side quests that as soon as I get them, I immediately do them because I don't want to miss one again.
Yeah.
I will tell you, I felt extremely accomplished going through the prologue demo and playing those side quests that I missed the first time around.
I'm so proud
the rock
of you.
fell down one and all that. I was just aha, I am genius brained. It also helps that they have markers to show you when there are new quests on the guild board.
Amazing.
So it's very hard to miss.
We love modern UI. But we've actually covered the quests I've done so far. I haven't done the others.
I think other than that, the only other two were some monster eliminations.
Oh, no, I did do one monster elimination, the one on the way to Wolf Fort, but that's the only one.
Right, yeah. So I did both. I just wanted to knock them out early. Plus, I was just excited to explore old locations and see if there were any cutscenes that triggered or anything.
Yeah.
Nothing happened in Carnelia Tunnel. I did notice that the limestone caverns are now fully blocked off.
Oh, interesting.
It's sandbagged so that you can't get past it anymore, and it says it's so goddamn dangerous, signed the army.
Amazing. We love when the army is just fucking hell, stay away. That's really reassuring.
It's just closed due to excessive monster activity. XOXO Royal Army. I ran around and I got some chest messages in Carnelia Tunnel, but I'll save that for when we go there, when you do the extermination.
Alrighty.
Other than that, on the way to Wolford, I did detour to Carnelia Tower.
Me too.
Just because it's there. Soon to be renamed the Crimson Tower in Once chapter.
Oh, I wasn't sure what what the other ones were called. Jade Tower I heard, but I didn't know the others.
Jade, Crimson, Sapphire, and Amber So it's basically just
All right, so Amber and Sapphire are almost the same, just missing an L.
they've just unwhimsicaled it, yeah.
Yeah, Sag.
But nothing much to note in the tower. I ran up and got all the chests. There's some good stuff. Mainly, I just wanted to get to the top of the tower and see if the device was lit up. It is.
Yeah.
No interaction, no scenes. I was just like, wicked, I'm up the top of the tower. I also felt like it was a lot redder than I remembered.
It did feel pretty red, but I really wasn't sure.
I felt convinced that like the tower had lit up or something, and then as I got to the top of the tower, I realized my TV was just set to vivid color mode, so never mind.
Ha!
But I thought it was some great environmental storytelling in the moment.
Did you have any chest messages from the tower that you wanted to shout out, or?
I did snap a couple. Let me see. There was one, I'm not sure if it's one we've already read before. As you look into the darkness of the empty chest, it reminds you of the darkness that fills your heart.
I caught that one, yeah.
Pretty rough.
I also really loved, you wonder if you could use arts to turn this chest into a small wooden bathtub. Water would probably be fine. Fire to heat it? Likely not. Like, that's just so random and specific. There was also orb mints, keeping your breath fresher and longer. Which is very funny because Alaska in the Discord joked that that's merch that they should make. Like, they should have, like, branded Altoids called Orb Mints. And then right after reading that, I was playing through and we got that chest message and I was like, oh my god.
Nice. I don't remember those messages. I must have forgotten to double tap some chests.
They were, when you walk in, you have to immediately turn backwards.
Oh, yeah. I think I got those on the way out.
The last one, I think this is the last one I want to shout out, was the empty chest's shape tempts you to climb on top of it and start writing the next great Zemurian novel. You somehow resist the urge.
Yes, I spotted that one on 2 different chests, actually. So one of those repeated chest message references, I guess. Been a couple more redos, but I didn't really take note of them. The last one I'll sing out at Crimson Tower is, what if our universe is a chest in someone else's universe, and someone's going to open us up, take everything, and just keep coming back?
See, I missed that one. Wild. I will actually shout out one more, very short one. Sorry, kid. I'm retired.
I did catch that one as well. Like, that's just short and to the point. Love it. Now, the one thing I did want to ask, because I don't remember, is now that I've been up 2 towers, we've had here in the Crimson Tower, on the top floor, there is a fire, like a brazier on the top floor.
Yeah.
And I compared that against the Jade Tower in the 1C demo, where there was a tree growing at the top. Do they all have like an elemental thing on the top floor? I don't remember taking notice.
They all have something. I think the Sappho one has like a little lake thing, like a little pond.
Oh, right, yeah, because it has a fishing pond.
Yeah. And yeah, the other one, I don't remember what the earth one is, but there's a little something. Maybe a rock formation? I don't know. There's something.
A big rock, yeah. Okay, so yeah, they do have some sort of elementally tied object at the top of the tower. That's cool. Yeah, that was about it for the tower. I got a screenshot standing in front of the big lit up thingamabob that doesn't do anything yet, the doohickey, and then I left.
I also found a shitload of shining palms in the tower in the monster combat, and then almost all of them ran away, but there was like 5 in one combat.
I did run into some. I didn't manage to take down a single one.
Yeah, same. I was like, Miss Joshua's S-Craft that does the whole field.
Oh, yeah. Also, really weird to switch back and forth between the remake and this game. I know we're talking about it a lot, but it's fresh in mind.
Yeah, for sure.
Deal with it, we love you. In the remake, Estelle's pummel is an area effect attack.
Oh, interesting.
And here it's not. It's single target. It's like a small area, but you can like line it up so you can hit multiple enemies.
Wild.
And I kept getting like culture shock switching back and forth as I sort of pivoted from one game to the other over the last few days. And so every time I got to a regular pummel, and it, even though Barrage is very powerful at this point, her stronger S-Craft, it's like, oh, single target. So that's one thing I'm happy to be retroactively rewriting. Also, things like line attacks have wider lines, so you can actually hit stuff.
Yes.
I actually got to use Joshua's line attack. What is it? The
Flicker.
I got to use Flicker and hit multiple enemies, and that was truly exciting to me.
Yeah.
I don't think I managed that until like the very end of first chapter.
Well, and being able to move around freely also really helps, as opposed to like only being able to like moving being a turn. Which, like, I do enjoy something about the grid-based, like, the tactics of it. There's something fun about that, but there's also fun to be able to move around freely. Like, there's pluses and minuses to it all. But that got us through the tower.
And then it was just making the way through Trat Road, I think it is.
Yeah, Trap Plains.
Trap Plains Road.
Oh, wait, Trap Plains had some funny chests, too. There was one that said, I knew you'd come back to me someday. Look, this is Chess Jr., our Chess Jr. I love that I impregnated this chest.
I only have 2 that I will sing out because that was one of the 3 that I caught for this area.
Gotcha.
One, in one of the side areas you don't actually have to cut through to get to Wolf Fort is the further south area, I think.
Yes.
Unable to see the bottom of this ostensibly empty chest, you drop a pebble into it. You don't hear it hit the bottom. Probably best to leave.
Yes.
I love how ominous these chest messages are getting.
Yeah, it's so good.
The other one I love because it's such a product of the age that this game was released in. I once heard on the playground that if you check a certain chest enough, it'll give you all the items and as much mirror as you can hold. Which is so...
Yeah.
I am old enough to have grown up with Final Fantasy VII being like a current-ish release. And so having like the Aerith conversations on the playground saying like, oh, this is what you got to do to revive her is absolutely something I've lived. So that is in an alternate, much better universe where Trails had been getting the love it deserved for decades longer than it has. This would be the kind of conversation happening about this game on a playground. And I think that's delightful.
And in a world where it was released in the West much earlier than it was. The fact that it wasn't here until 2011 and it's a 2004 game, but just blows my mind.
Wild.
The last one I'm going to shout out from Trap Plains is just, ooh, you're one of those completionist types, huh? It just, I just felt like so red right there. It was really funny.
Seen in an uncomfortable way.
Exactly.
There was also one of the extermination missions off to the side down here somewhere that I cleared out. Didn't really have anything of note about it. So, shall we move on to Wolf Fort?
Yeah, let's go to Wolf Fort. So we get to Wolf Fort, and there's no wolves, which is probably a good thing given our track record for encountering dogs at forts.
But there are a lot of chickens.
Yes, but Wolf Fort, for those who don't remember, is the one that's at the border of Calvard. And Olivier points out that unlike my, quote, glorious fatherland, unquote, Calvard and Liberal are easy friends. And they talk a bit about the differences between Hawken Gate and Wolf Gate and how, you know, Wolf Gate, it's like a really narrow road between mountains also, so it doesn't need to be as big a production, but Hawken Gate is like a really wide road is what it opens onto, so like it's a much bigger fort to protect it and all that stuff. Yeah, so it was just a little bit of comparison, and we've seen both forts, so...
I also have a line from Agate as they enter the area, because he takes note of the chickens running around for some reason, and... Sorry, again, comparison to Remake. I was just at Puzzle Farm in the Remake prologue, and you can run around, and if you catch the chickens, you get an egg sometimes. Same thing happens here. I'm like, okay, time to be here for serious bracer business. And then as soon as the cutscene ended, Estelle was just chasing chickens.
Yeah.
But Agate sort of points out that, like, as they're talking about this being the gate through to Calvard, is like, it's friggin' embarrassing to have all these chickens running around. Like, we look like such a hick country.
Shira says something a bit similar.
Oh, yeah? She
just says, I'm still not quite sure about the free-range poultry either way. So it's not quite as embarrassing. She's not like it's embarrassing. She's like, I'm not thrilled about the chickens running around.
I love that we get these different takes, like similar kind of outcomes.
Yeah.
Not always the same, but different is like, come on guys, like this makes us look pretty rural.
Yeah.
Like, can we like get a pen or something at the fucking border?
Yeah.
Yeah, once I walked into the gate, purely by accident, I went and talked to the guy who was the first guy I needed to talk to trigger the mission anyway.
Amazing.
I don't know if you got any interesting dialogue before starting the investigation?
Yeah, I just went to the bar, and the Rufus, the bartender, is basically like...
Oh, Jesus,
yeah. He's like, this bar is totally normal. Obviously, as you can tell, this is a totally ordinary bar. And then I talked to him again, and he's like, hey, welcome to this totally ordinary bar.
Yes.
And it was super fucking weird.
What? There's no payoff at this stage.
Like, dude, what is going on at this bar that you... Why do you need to keep pointing out that this is an ordinary bar? What are you hiding? Where are the bodies?
So weird. I saw this and my mind jumped to... It was... I think Octopath Traveler 2 has one of the little side quests where you go into a shop and the shopkeeper's saying something like, hey, welcome to this ordinary shop. Everything's fine. And in that game, you find out it's actually like a robber who's holding
this person hostage
with a knife behind the thing, pretending to be the item keeper. here I was like, oh God, what the fuck is happening? Has someone taken over the bar? Because yeah, he keeps saying like, welcome to this ordinary bar. Like even when
he's like, nothing to see here.
You can talk to him when you're doing your investigation, and he has another version of this line where it's like, hey, this is a normal bar and I'm a normal bartender. Welcome to the normal bar. What the hell, Rufus? This whole conversation with Rufus at the bar is weird. There better be a payoff later in the chapter, because otherwise, what the hell? Like, I went upstairs to see if there was anyone being held hostage, and there's just like another army guy hanging out going like, oh hey, and that's it.
Yeah.
There's no indication that anything is weird, but it's definitely weird.
Yeah, it's bizarre. Anyway, other than that, I talked to everyone, but that was kind of the only thing that was interesting.
But then we make our way over to CWO Pace, Chief Warrant Officer Pace. Doesn't get spelled out this time, but I'm happy to step in. He says that the earthquake that they experienced was 3 days ago at 1700 hours, so 5 p.m., and lasted exactly 10 seconds, and reinforces that it was isolated to the fort, and Sanktheim Gate didn't even hear anything. They didn't hear a rumble, no glasses of water vibrated on the table, not a peep.
Damn.
Which is very suspicious. I think he also confirms that they didn't experience the earthquake that we just had either.
Yeah. He's like, I just heard about that, and no, we didn't experience it.
But he tasks us, he's like, if you want more information, you're welcome to like check in with all of the men at the base, see what they heard.
Because we asked if there's anything small, and he says it's possible that, one of them, there was some small details that they didn't think were important enough to report to me. So definitely feel free to ask, which is like interestingly helpful as a way to like think that he's like, yeah, he doesn't say it in a judgy way. He's not like, they better not have like hidden things from me. He's more like, yeah, I realized that some...
Yeah, it's just like, this wasn't military report special.
But there might be stuff that doesn't make it into a military report that could be useful for a bracer, which is usually how we figure out all of our clues. With all of our cases, we seem to figure out with like a weird detail that people didn't think was important.
Yeah, it's time to wander around the base. There's not too many people to check in with, thankfully. Who did we have? We had Chief Warrant Officer Gerwin. Didn't hear shit. He's useless to us.
Yeah.
Private Brahm at the gate says that Private Henning might have heard something the day before. He sort of had like a weird reaction when they were having a conversation about people passing through the gate, but didn't really follow up on it. So he's like, check in with Henning. He might have something.
We also know that he sleeps standing up at the job, which Olivier thinks is impressive.
He sure does.
And Shara says you really should not brag about that, the ability to sleep while standing up. She calls him Lenheim here again. She's like, that's not something to brag about, Lenheim. He tells us that he could. It's a rare skill to be able to sleep standing, but that he can eat a full. He can have a 3-course meal while sleeping.
Congratulations, Olivier. That's a skill.
It might be an affliction. You might need to talk to a doctor about that. Actually,
yeah, that seems like a problem more than a skill. After that, though, I went and checked back in with Rufus at the bar, and he basically says that he heard nothing. He's like, I was here at the ordinary bar, being ordinary. Yeah. It'd be weird for me to hear anything ordinarily in the ordinary bar.
Yeah.
And nothing happened here. Bye. This man is suspicious as hell.
So weird.
But then Henning turns out to be the private who is back upstairs in the bar, the one that I tried to check if he was kidnapped. Mm-hmm. He said that as he was finishing his shift that afternoon, he saw a dude on the road. What did this dude look like, you might ask? Why, he was wearing dark clothes and dark glasses to obscure the sun. Wonder what those are called.
Oh my god.
Mystery is, though, he came to the gate, he saw him walking up, and then he was in the bar, so he figured the guy would show up in the bar, because people generally stop in the bar and then go through the gate, like at a more appropriate time. So it was getting late, so they'd probably be closing up at like 5 p.m. But the guy didn't come to the bar, so he's like, that's weird. So when he gets back to the gate, that's when he talked to Brahm and asked if anyone had passed through the gate. And Brahm said, nope, no one's come through. And he knows that he's not bad enough at his job to just not notice someone going through the gate.
I like that he specified that. Like, yeah, he's bad at his job, but he's not quite that bad.
Yeah. So this guy came to the gate, didn't go to the bar, didn't go through the gate, and then just vanished.
Yeah.
So that's kind of all we know. At this point, they say we should tell Kilika this. I don't know if it's required, but I did go back and check in with CWO Pace again afterwards, just to kind of wrap up. And you pretty much just say like, hey, this is what everyone heard. And he's like, interesting. Bye. So if that was a required step, it didn't really do much for me.
I think it is, but I don't know for sure. I think it just triggers like, you can't leave until you do that, I think.
Yeah, it felt like a finishing up thing. Mm-hmm. I was trying to be a comprehensive investigator, so how could I skip him? But after talking to him, it's like, all right, let's go home to Zeiss and talk to Kilika and let her know what's going on. So we walk out, and as soon as we cross the threshold, Pace comes running after us.
He's like, thank God I caught up to you. There's just been an earthquake at Sanktheim Gate. Oh my God.
What?
And we're like, what the fuck? And again gives us like narration text. It's like the party immediately ran right to Sanktheim Gate. And next thing you know, you're there and the whole place is disheveled.
Yeah.
And the CWO there, whose name I think is Dale, is pissed that you're there. He's like the army guys in the first game who would always be like annoyed at you and be like, you're useless and not helpful and we're doing real jobs. He's like that kind of energy. I think he might have been the guy who stopped us at... Because Sanktheim Gate is the one that borders on Grancel, I think. And I think he was the one who stopped and gave us a hard time about when we were trying to get through.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, but then we're free to go investigate.
He kind of keeps a fuss and we're like, we're here to investigate, whatever. And pretty much the only thing that they note before we take over control again and kind of stopped for this section was just that the quake was stronger here because things seem to have been like knocked around a lot more than they were in Zeiss or at Wolffort. You can see like a guy right in front of you picking up books that have fallen off a bookshelf and stuff. But yeah, then it's time to run around the base and question everyone again, at which point I hit save and close the video game.
I did the same thing. We're done for the time. Yeah, this was definitely more side quest than plot for this section, but...
Jesus.
We had to get through it. Now, I will say this chapter, chapter 2, is commonly considered the weakest chapter of second chapter. It's not a bad chapter, but it's commonly seen as the weakest, I think because the pacing of so many side quests compared to like major plot beats.
Yeah.
But so if you've been playing it, and because this is where people start to get a little like tired a bit sometimes playing this game. If you were feeling like that playing this chapter, just trust us to know that chapter 3 is that's not what we're playing next, but it's balls to the walls amazing. Like this is a slower chapter, but things about to hit the fan next chapter. It's an amazing chapter. And this one still, there's some fun stuff coming up too.
Yeah, that is reassuring because I did get a little bit of exhaustion playing through this section because it is so many side quests, and that whodunit hotel quest was a real drag. That kind of like halted my first play session because I got partway through that and I'm like, this is so tiring. So I sort of made a note of where I was up to in the instructions and came back to it. I think, if just the side quests were a little bit more distributed or even just longer like deadlines, because things like the training mission to go have that fight, that's extremely narrow to be able to get that. Yeah. And like some of the others cut off pretty quickly as well. So it's just like... Just
the fact that you have to walk all the way up to that gate.
It's the extremities, you like the Caldia tunnel mission, if you did that like me, that's like way, way, way down the tunnel that you don't have any other reason to go into this part of the chapter. So it's a lot of like hitting the extremities. I ended up just running across the entire region. I ran all the way to Elmo Village just to check in. Only thing of note to say there is that Ms. Mao behind the desk at the Hot Springs now has a profile picture. Congratulations, Ms. Mao.
Yes, she does.
She's very kindly looking. I like her.
Yes, I like Miss Mao. She's great.
She's got a soft grin like a woman who has a secret. Yeah, it was a lot of like front loading, and it feels like the events are going to power through pretty consistently for the remainder of the chapter. So it's just, it seems top heavy, kind of.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm looking forward to finding out about this like gym bro in a suit who's running around maybe causing trouble.
Maybe.
And seeing more of Agate and Olivier interacting.
Yes, best. I'm excited for everything. Just in general, I'm just excited. I love this game and I love first chapter, and there's so much trails happening in my life right now that I'm just like on cloud 9 in that regards. But yeah, I think that brings us to the end. Next episode, we're playing to the end of the chapter. So that's an easier checkpoint. That's always nice when that's what we have to announce.
And I'm also excited to hear that chapter 3 sort of ramps up as far as like public perception, because other than the pacing issues, I didn't have a bad time with this chapter so far. So unless the end really flubs the landing, I can't imagine I'll go with a bitter taste in my mouth. But if chapter 3 is even better...
No, it's not like bad, but chapter 3 is really good.
Not every chapter can be the best chapter. Some chapter has to be the chapter 2. And this time it's this one. So, next episode, we will be playing to the end of chapter 2. But for now, thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the Legend of Podcast, Trails Through Trails. It's always lovely to have you here with us. If you'd like to let us know how you're feeling about Trails in the Sky's second chapter, or season 2 so far, you can find us on the Orbital Net at trailspod.online, on Instagram, X, the Everything Up, and Blue Sky at TrailsPod, and email us at trailsthroughtrails@gmail.com with any questions, comments, compliments, queries,
concerns. conundrums,
queer confessions of love within the Trails fandom. Any of that, we would love to hear it. You can review us on your podcast app or platform of choice. If you do, feel free to shout out with a screenshot to let us know. Regionally locked reviews are a thing that exist in the world, and no one knows why.
We don't know yet if we figured out how to circumvent it yet.
Please leave a review, leave a comment, say you've left a review. Let us know. It's always good to hear. On the next episode, our trails will be taking us to the end of Chapter 2. So until then, I've been Matt.
And I've been Lex.
And we will see you next time.
Bye!